Hey everyone. Hey everybody. Today we're going to be doing a gameplay run through of Carpe Diem, a new release from Ravensburger, Stefan Feld game. You know the drill. There's a million ways you can score. I've got this set up for two players. Just going to run through some of the basic gameplay steps and hope everyone gets a good feel for this upcoming release. I hope to do a couple more of these videos over the next couple weeks. These are going to be considered preview videos of games you can find in the PAX Unplugged first look area. I will have a couple copies of Carpe Diem, a couple people trained up to teach players that stop by the area. So other games that happen to come by in the mail in the run up to the con, I will get them on the table here and do a quick video. But let's get right to the game here. So this is a city building tile placement game. It's set in City of Rome, year 1 BC. And your goal is to just start taking these tiles off of this central market and placing them into your city. Now, there are 11 different types of features that you might find on these tiles. So we will go through them later on in the video. But first, I want to give you the general gist of the structure of the game and how you actually collect these tiles. So there will be 4 overall phases of the game. In each of those phases, each player is going to be able to pick 7 tiles. So 7 tiles will go down into your city. There'll be some interim scoring. We'll refill the market, do that again 3 more times, and then there's a whole boatload of endgame scoring. So the actual process of collecting a tile from this market, the entirety of your turn is to traverse this, heptagram type 7-point star shape here. I'll be the yellow player. You can choose to move on any of the connecting lines from the space you started on. So if I was here, I would have my choice of going to this spot or this spot, these 2 market stalls essentially. When I arrive there, I can choose one of the 4 available tiles. Pick it up, pop it in my city. Your first tile has to go in the shovel space here, right in the center of your city. Every subsequent tile you take has to connect to a tile you've already placed, orthogonal adjacent, not diagonal, and every single edge must line up perfectly. There's no broken features permitted here, including the edge of your map has to be grass. That matchup counts as well. So the red player would then go, say, take a tile. It would become my turn again, and I could pick my alley here. I'll go to this one and say take this tile with this feature and put it down. I'll match grass to grass. That's a legal move. And we will continue doing that back and forth. In a 2-player game, once 2 tiles have been taken from a stall, we would completely clear that one off. In a 3-player, you would, remove the 4th. In a 4-player game, you would play until all tiles were taken in a stall. You would never do any preemptive clearing. But needless to say, like I said before, everyone does 7 moves, 7 tiles taken. If you ever can't fit a tile, you just got to kind of throw it face down in your storage area where all of these various resources that we'll get to, they all go there too. Talk about that a bit later. And also, if you ever move to an area where there is no tiles, you can continue chain movement. So you would have to go there and then you would bounce, and have a choice again. So you could do a little bit of chain movement in those later moves in a phase to try to figure out how to get yourself to a spot that you like by using the empty market stalls. So that's the gist of moving and placing. Uh, if you do cover up some of these bandolier spaces on your board, you move up what I would call an interim scoring priority track. The more space, the more you move up here, the better deal you're going to get on what you score in between each of the phases. So at this point, I'll go over the 11 different features that you see here on these different city building tiles. For the most part, all of them just get you stuff. These are your resources. You've got green stuff, brown stuff, dolphins, grapes. I think it's bread, but it looks like a mushroom, and coins. So you get those things for different features that correspond to those colors. You put them in your storage. We'll talk about those later. Scoring. You want to count how many smokestacks you have, how many chimneys. That's going to help you get up a chart as on the reference here, the more chimneys you have on completed villas, more points you're going to score. Some of the other fun features that you might complete are wells. Those allow you to draw a card from the well deck, which gives you an endgame scoring. So this one is going to give me 2 points at the end of the game for every water feature that I've completed, completely enclosed. And there's a pretty big deck here of different endgames. I'll show the deck size. 20 or so cards that could affect the endgame scoring. Let's see, are there any other ones? There are some of these individual, like these little markets. There's a market, and I believe this one is like a bakery. Those allow you to take immediate resources. You don't have to wait for them to be completed because they are single tile resources. You'll notice that some of these also have 2 different features on a tile. So you can start chaining, creating 2 different structures at once. The dark green, this is some sort of builder feature. If you complete one of those, you get to pick from one of the 14 reserve market tiles across the bottom. These are never refilled throughout the game. So 14, that's all you get. What's unique about these is that they're all guaranteed to only have 1 feature on them. We'll see how that plays into the strategy once we actually get a full game of this going. But needless to say, that is general explanation of all the different building types. 7 at a time, 4 phases. Pretty simple so far. But what happens when we get to that in-between interim scoring? We've cleared out all the market stalls. We've taken 2 from each. Red and yellow have each filled up 7 tiles. Everything's gone. We're going to look over here. This is randomly distributed. There's 4 different types of scoring cards, so every game has a similar feel. But the deck I'll show here is also pretty thick. Eyeballing it here, it's probably 70 or so cards. So there's a lot of variation in the endgame scoring, while they do guarantee that same feel by they have 4 different types, A, B, C, and D cards. And for a 2-player game, you use 2 of each. When it's time to do interim scoring, we're going to see who's higher on this bandolier track, which I call the interim scoring priority. Whoever's higher up, right now it happens to be yellow in this board state, takes one of their 4 discs and picks one of these junctions here. So I'll just say that one. And they immediately score the left and right adjacent cards in either order. If they fail to complete any of the criteria on them, they're going to lose 4 points. So you actually do start with some victory points in this game, so that gives you some room to backslide. And the victory points are tracked by just these paper money type victory points on cards. So there's 2 different distinctions here. There's red backgrounds and green backgrounds. Reds are straight up selling to the market. Forever looks like 2 of these leaves. For every 2 leaves you sell, you get 4 victory points. And all these cards can always be scored in multiple. So however many pairs you've got, just keep cashing in for 4. This looks like for every 2 completed villas, get a coin, move up 1 on the bandolier track, and also get a bread/mushroom. That's the gist of the scoring, except for the fact that red will come in, do their own scoring, and then those markers will remain. So for rounds 2, 3, and 4, when we do these end phase scorings, it's gonna get crowded in here. We're gonna start filling up spaces, and I might have to go, on the edge here, and really not have much of a choice as to where you're gonna score as things start to fill up on you. In a 3-player game, 2 of these corners will be filled in, and the 4-player, the entire 3x4 grid would be completed with different cards. Moving on here to the endgame scoring, there are 5 different areas that are going to score. One, as I said before, was the villas, looking at how many completed smokestacks you have in your villas. Another are these special goals on these frames. These are randomly distributed as well, so all the setups will be a little different. If you look at these victory point frames here, they show different color buildings, which correspond to the 11 different types of features you can create, and with the number of points with an arrow. So for this one, it's this gray type building. You would draw a line straight across And if at any point you intersect a completed gray building, you would score that 4 points. Same thing with all the other total of 8 different border bonus scorings you would get at the end of the game. Let's see, some of the other bonus scoring. The third one would be those well cards. However many you collected, you would score those at that time. Let's see. All of your leftover resources here, you would divide by 2, round down, and get a point, essentially a half point per leftover resource rounded down. And I know there is one other, yes. The bandolier track at that point actually just straight up turns into points. So whatever number you are on that spot, you get those points. So there is a lot going on here. Like I said, 11 different features. They all do something unique. I think one I didn't even talk about was the commerce space, this gold building. When you complete that, you can just sell everything for coins. But as I said, they all just give you some type of resource which you can use to cash in for these goals. That is the heart of the game. Getting what you need to set yourself for that big multiple scoring, like say scoring double E for 4 points several times over. When you're going to place a disc, it better be a worthwhile placement so you can really max out your point gain there. That's the gist of it. Complete 11 different features as you fill up your maps to get all those instant effects. Do the 4 rounds of interim scoring, and then at the end of the game, 5 big different methods of scoring hit you right at the end for all sorts of point salad madness. I am a Feld fan, so I'm pretty certain I am going to like this one. Where it will stack up in the Feld hierarchy, who's to say? I'll probably be getting this one to the table in a couple days, and maybe hit up with some thoughts after the fact. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. See you around.